Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another versus matchup type of video. Want to give my thoughts on who would win between Marvel's The Avengers. We're going to go with a core team of 6 versus Dragon Ball Z's The Z Fighters. Let's do it. Great, so I felt like doing some more versus matchup type videos. Want to get back in the habit of doing some. This one was requested by Israel Savinian. Thank you very much for the video request. Other people have requested videos like this one where they basically want to hear my thoughts on how the Z Fighters as a team stack up against some other big teams out there in the comic book world. Now, he had asked that I go ahead and do Justice League, but I decided, you know what, Avengers are pretty big right now. Justice League will make sense later when they've got the movie closer to coming out and everything. But, you know, with the Avengers movie, Avengers 2 hitting next year, the Marvel movies all in theaters, and a lot of attention's on the Avengers last couple of years with that. So what I decided is, first I'll go ahead and do that, and then afterwards I may decide to do a Justice League versus the Z Fighters, but I think it would go similar in terms of ways. Well, I'll probably do it anyway. Let me know what you guys think about that, Z Fighters versus the Justice League. So this one, Z Fighters versus Marvel's The Avengers. With the Avengers team, I'm going to go with your core 6 that we saw in the Avengers movie, which I think is basically your standard Avengers nowadays. When you think about like a standard Avengers team, most people, that's the team that's going to pop in your mind. I'm talking Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. So I think that makes sense for those 6. To keep the numbers even, we'll choose 6 of the Z Fighters. And this one's a tough pick because it depends on timeline. Okay, if we pick the timeline from the end of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball GT type timeline, we get into too ridiculous in terms of powers. The powers are too out of control. They're too, like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, God Mode Goku. These types of things where he could beat the whole team himself in Super Saiyan 3. I'd have to say Super Saiyan 3 Goku would defeat the Avengers entirely. It's just too much power. The Hulk, Thor would give him probably the biggest challenge, but Super Saiyan 3 I view it as when he starts powering up and the earth shakes. that's too much power. The Hulk can move some stuff too. Yeah, he could probably move the earth around a bit, but when Goku's just powering up at Super Saiyan 3 and the whole world starts shaking, I feel like we've picked a time when the power is too much, or when he's in God mode. It's just too much power. We're not picking a good time anymore. So the timeline I'm going to pick for our Z Fighters team is dead center. I'll go dead center. I won't say the end of their evolution to where they're super powerful, and I won't say the beginning. I think that's fair. Let's pick it somewhere in the middle. Let's go around the time when the Android saga was going on, because then we're not at the start of Z, we're not at the end of Z, we're kind of right in the middle where the characters have evolved to a certain point, but they're not the most powerful they're going to become, and they're not in their weakest state right at the beginning, when they're very young and everything, and they're just learning about fighting in, for example, the Saiyan saga where everybody is relatively weak, for example, compared to Super Saiyan level, that type of thing. So the Android saga is a good point, but we're going to scratch the whole Goku heart problem type thing. I think that makes sense because we're going to put him in this type of hypothetical matchup with a heart condition. So let's go with that right at the beginning of the Cell saga, around the time of the Android saga, no heart condition for Goku. Our team is going to be Goku with the ability to turn Super Saiyan level 1. Granted? Cool. Okay. Vegeta, also the ability to turn Super Saiyan level 1, because if you remember the Android saga, his battle with Android 18, yep, so that makes sense, right? Piccolo, not yet merged with Kami, so not yet super Namekian Piccolo. Granted, they threw that term around quite a bit in the series because he'd merged with Nail, he'd merged with other, this type of thing. But let's go before he merges with Kami and is able to take on Cell one-on-one and do pretty good against him. So Piccolo. Next, we're going to go with Trunks. Also, yeah, when we first introduced him, it's future Trunks, so he did have the ability to turn Super Saiyan right off the bat. So we'll give him that with a sword, okay? So that's cool. Then we have Gohan, but let's go before he was able to turn Super Saiyan. Not that it matters that much, really. In this matchup, is the overall scheme of the matchup doesn't matter that much, because he did learn and turn Super Saiyan when he was in the hyperbolic time chamber, ready for Cell. So, that doesn't really matter too much, I'd say, in this situation. Then let's choose Krillin, because he was one of the main Z Fighter characters through most of the series, with the exception of Boo. He was pretty much always there. Even in Dragon Ball, huge character. So let's pick Krillin. Let's put him in there. So how would it go down? How would it play out? 6 Avengers versus the 6 Z Fighters. Make it even. We'll pick in the middle. We'll pick the Avengers at their pinnacle, which would be maybe Avengers 2, the movie, or Avengers in terms of the comic books, like modern day type Avengers. But that core original team, I shouldn't say original, but the team that most people would think of when you hear the Avengers, the movie Avengers, let's say. So let's go down like this. All right, the toughest member of the Avengers, I'm going to go ahead and put a limit out there. I'm going to say it's the Hulk. Okay, I'm going to say the Hulk. Next would be Thor in terms of power. So let's give the Hulk the toughest member of the Z Fighters team, or who I view as at that time would be, and that would be their best fighter. That would be Goku. So we got the Hulk and Goku going at it. All right, let's go Thor and Vegeta, because those are the runners-up. Vegeta, the next most powerful in the Z Fighters. Thor, probably the next most powerful in the Avengers. So those two. Then we'll go Iron Man and Trunks, okay? Because I think Iron Man's probably next in terms of power scale. Then we'll go Captain America, Piccolo, all right? And then we'll go Gohan, Hawkeye, and finally Krillin and Black Widow. I think that's fair. Give Krillin Black Widow, give Black Widow Krillin. I tried to match the scale here in terms of who would take on who first in some kind of team battle type thing. So there you go. So right off the bat, the first matchup, Goku the Hulk. I've done an entire video just on this one, and I firmly am convinced, if you want to hear more on that matchup right there, just go watch the video. It's probably as long as this video is going to be, of Goku versus the Hulk. For that one, even though it's close, I think the Hulk would give Goku a good run for his money, because his strength at Super Saiyan level 1 Goku and the Hulk. The thing is, the Hulk is a rage monster. Goku is a calculated, intelligent fighter, and when you compare those two, if you put them both on similar type power range, you got to go with Goku. But again, watch the whole video if you want to hear all my logic on that. But I'd have to go Super Saiyan 1 Goku would narrowly be able to defeat the Hulk, yes. Or, well, pretty good anyway. Next, we would have the Vegeta-Thor matchup. Okay, this one is... I don't know how close I want to say this one would be, because Vegeta is a beast. He really is a beast. Now, because Thor's a god, he probably wouldn't take Thor all that lightly, but would Thor's powers really be able to mess with Vegeta all that much? Maybe a bit, but in Super Saiyan, Mjolnir, Super Saiyan, Final Flash, yeah, I would say that Thor would give Vegeta a really good run for his money, but I also would have to go with the Prince of Saiyans for that one. I got to pick Vegeta for that one too. Going on from there, Piccolo, Captain America. Captain America's got the shield, but in terms of, and he is at the peak of human condition, right? Now, Piccolo won the world tournament way back when, or him and Goku were in the world tournament. They were the toughest out of every human on the planet in that universe. So let's say that Cap is right up there with the best of the human race. And he's got the shield. Man, I hate to do it, but I got to say Piccolo. I think I still have to go with Piccolo, as at that stage in the Android saga, being that much tougher, having that many more techniques. Yes, the shield may cause some problems with maybe reflection of energy blasts and things like that. As long as Piccolo doesn't use his special beam cannon and it get reflected back by the shield, I'm going to have to go ahead and say Piccolo. I don't think Cap can stop Piccolo, and I think he's got enough skills, enough experience, enough talent to defeat Cap without too much trouble, just based on power level being way higher. So with that one, I'm also going to have to go with the Z Fighter. I'm going to have to go with Piccolo. That brings us to Iron Man versus Trunks. Okay, so Iron Man's got quite a bit of artillery, quite a bit of different, quite an arsenal to him. Trunks has got the sword. He'll have Super Saiyan 1. He'll have been from the time when the androids were, Android. This is a good matchup because Trunks doesn't like androids. Iron Man's kind of close to an android. Not exactly, it's a suit, but you guys get what I'm saying. I don't think Trunks would like him too much, and I think Trunks' sword in Super Saiyan mode would pierce the armor. I think he'd dice him to pieces, pretty quickly. I don't think Iron Man stands much of a chance against Trunks. So again, Z Fighter. Go from there to the Hawkeye versus Gohan matchup. Even if Gohan's a kid, even if he can't turn Super Saiyan and he gets maybe shot with a couple arrows, let's say, I don't know, with his super speed, Hawkeye doesn't miss, that type of thing. But as close as this one would be, I don't know. Do you really think Hawkeye could put Gohan down? I don't know. Gohan's a tough little dude. His power is pretty high. One energy blast would finish Hawkeye, and he can only dodge for so long. Even if he lands a few arrows, one blast, and Hawkeye's going to be down for the count. So I'm going to have to go with Gohan. And finally, Krillin versus Black Widow. Black Widow's guns aren't going to do anything against him, even though he may have trouble dealing with females, like we've seen with Android 18. Yeah, I still got to go with Krillin. It would be soft. It'd probably be longer than it should be because it's Krillin. But I don't expect him to, dice her in half with a Destructo Disc or anything. But I got to go with Krillin. So this one for me is a pretty easy one, to be honest with you. This one's a flawless victory. I think it's more arguable if you want to put the Z Fighters at like the beginning of Dragon Ball. Then that'd be more interesting. But then you wouldn't really have... I don't know. You'd have Yamcha. You wouldn't have Vegeta on their side because he was not, part of the Z Fighter team then. I chose the Z Fighter team that I think of in my mind when I think of the Z Fighters. Vegeta's on the team, Trunks, the others. That for me is like dead center, dead middle of Dragon Ball Z. It's fair to pick from there, I think. Later on, it's not fair because they're too powerful. Earlier on, they haven't really developed much in terms of their powers. That's more of an argument. If you choose an early on Z Fighter team, I could stand to see if somebody said, the Avengers would take it. So I think the key in this matchup is which Z Fighter team do you pick from at what point in the series, who would take it. At this time, Z Fighters, level 1 Super Saiyan, able to give them enough power to overcome even all the skills of the Avengers team, even working together in the tech of Iron Man, the strength of the Hulk, the powers of Thor. Even still, I would have to go with the Z Fighters. Earlier on in the Dragon Ball Z series, that makes for a more closer matchup. And I could definitely see earlier on if you wanted to say the Avengers would beat the early Z Fighter team, like during the Saiyan saga. I'm not going to disagree with you there. But Super Saiyan level 1 for Trunks, Vegeta, Goku, not Gohan, and the power levels they were at during that time, Z Fighters take this easily. Let me know what you guys think about that one. If you want to see Z Fighters versus Justice League, give me a comment. Let me know, and also give me a time to pick from. Should it be right in the middle, or should we be picking a different time? I think that's fair, right in the middle. I think that's fair. Anyway, that's it for this versus matchup. If you have other suggestions, send them to me, and I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, as always, saying peace.